start with doing a sample testing in this session for a data warehouse model. The first phase, we will be doing testing on the first phase, data loading. When the data is loaded into a stage environment, how testing is carried out. So for that, before going there, I want to show you ETL mapping sheet. So this is the first thing you should have in hand, ETL mapping sheet. So this sheet will give the mapping details between source and target. This sheet should be created, will be created by a lead tester or a business analyst, and will be circulated to the tester, ETL tester. So what this sheet essentially contains, so this is a standard sheet which is taken from Kimball Group. I'll explain this sheet. So this is how the sheet is created in any of the ETL testing. This is called ETL mapping sheet, and this is very important. This will give us which columns should be mapped to which columns, what are the new direct source to direct columns, source to target columns, and what are the derived columns, what are the columns to be ignored, what is the size of the column, what is the nature of the column, what is the data type of the column, maybe sample data if possible. Everything will be there in this sheet. Everything will be there. The entire every data element should be part of the sheet. If there is anything which is not part of sheet, then that will not be applicable for ETL, for data warehouse. This sheet here is giving us information about dim customer table name. Table name is dim customer. So remember, data warehouse consists of dimensions and facts. Yeah. So this is dimension. Type is dimension. Display name customer. Database schema DBO if nothing is specified. What it contains. Size. The type 2 here, type 1 is seen. This is CD, slow changing dimension, SCD. SCD type 2. So we will discuss what is SCD. SCD is a very prominent feature of data warehouse, applicable for dimensions, applicable only for dimensions. So how we address updations or deletions in dimension. It's type 3 types, type 0, type 1 and type 2. So here essentially it is saying that it is type 2 is applicable. Okay. So look at the script. So this is like the complete list of columns which are available in dim customer table, dimension customer. So complete list of tables, columns, nature of column, surrogate key. This is a unique key in dimension. The definition of data warehouse said it is integrated. For example, source A and source B may have different ways of identifying a product, but in data warehouse there will be only a single way of identifying a product. Single way means there will be only one key which has everything linked to it. So this is not the primary key which is used in OLTP database. This is surrogate key which is generated as part of dimensional model, which is a unique key which will uniquely identify each row. This surrogate key will be part of fact table, will be inserted in fact table which has facts. See, then we have metadata, target and source. Source, where it is coming from. So it is coming from AW. means AW here is, this is a sample of AdventureWorks. Okay, AW is a AdventureWorks system. Some of it is ERP, some of it is web application. Okay, mostly in flat files data will be coming. Okay, so source schema is sales. If we have schema information, this is more of an OLTP database. So the table is customer. So that's why, since it is an OLTP database, we will have a table name. If it is coming from a file, then we'll have file name. So usually in a dimensional model, we end up having data from one or more tables or files. So here see, a certain set of columns are coming from customer table, certain are coming from contact table, certain columns are coming from individual, different schema, different tables, and their column names, their appropriate column names, and the data types. This is source information. Source is vivid. We'll have multiple source entry points. Target, you have same table, single table, different column names, their metadata. So you have to see whether metadata is properly mapped. Varchar, here also varchar. If the size is 10, if it is only 8 here, then we will have a problem. Data truncation may happen, data loss may happen. If it is 20, then we may unnecessarily having more space reserved. Nullable, not nullable. This information also should be is very important, whether this column is nulls are allowed or not. If we define a table, a dimension for a column to allow nulls, which shouldn't be a null value, nullable customer ID. So in this schema, it is allowing it is nullable is n, means no. If we say nothing, then it is nullable. Then we may end up having blank values, which can't be used anywhere else. Then. So this ETL mapping sheet is prepared much before even the ETL solution is created. So this is this is circulated to both developer and tester. Tester for testing the mappings, developer for establishing the packages. So here you have to note that there could be some columns which may not be directly coming from source. Like see customer full name is a ETL rule. There is ETL rule. This is derived. So the single name has nothing in source. See, has nothing in source pointing, because this is derived from in the ETL itself. We'll be using more one or more columns from the source and then getting it there. When we have a derived column, we will have logic for that in the same file or maybe in a supportive attached file. So we have to look out whether that logic is implemented properly. If we have technical knowledge, SQL knowledge, we'll directly go and open the ETL packages and test for it. If not, then we will do a reconciliation testing. Literally every column will be specified in this document. These all are dimensions. So date dimension is one special kind of dimension which will not have any source directly coming. See, there is no source. This is created in the database in the ETL by the ETL itself. So the columns will be like the last drill down will be day. So the table will have let me show you the table directly. So this will have like this day of the week, day name of the week, name of the day of the week, then the month of the day, name of that month, year, facial year, calendar year, all that. So this may be a time dimension, so it will be drilled down to an hour. So we'll have the quarter, all that information in time dimension. So this is independent of the source. This is created. This brings a time variation in our data warehouse model. This is very helpful for publishing time based date based analytics in the front end reporting platform, analytical platform. So this is a must. This has to be tested whether all the dates are considered or not properly. It does everything. So yeah, with certain SQL queries we can do the testing. We will discuss all the SQL queries. So as part of this training, I will be giving you that SQL queries also, which will be used for testing, which are very handy. So when you are doing real-time testings also, you can use the SQL queries and perform testing effectively. Okay, so every dimension, employee, product name. So let us do some facts. Orders. Orders is a fact. So orders involves amounts. So you see here FK, so foreign key. This is actually surrogate key. You'll have multiple surrogate keys. Sales representative, currency, insert audit. So you see the dimension surrogate key coming from which dimension? See, dim currency, dim employee, dim audit, dimension, all this. So, so this fact has to be little carefully be looked at for mapping is because this will not only have source information, the entry points information, but also the dimensions itself. The same dimensions which are loaded earlier will be used again for populating fact. So actually in a typical workflow, first dimensions are loaded, then fact is loaded when ETL is loading data warehouse. So there will be derived columns, there will be columns coming from dimension table, there will be columns coming directly from the source. Source could be again flat files or Excel files or RDBMS systems themselves. Okay. So this is target mapping document, which is very important document, which is created at the time of designing an ETL, and this is the first starting point for doing a ETL testing. So we will begin testing with cross-checking all the mappings, validating whether all the mappings are done properly with the proper metadata definitions and calculated column logics. Calculated columns or derived columns or computed columns, all are same. Okay, so now that we understood the mapping document, let's do a practical load test. I mean, when data from a entry point is brought into a staging with an ETL, how we do it. See, so I have a source file which contains customer information, a customer info.psv. PSV stands for pipe separated values. So I have a file like this which has customer information. Okay, so this will come along with mapping document. Yeah, there would be a mapping document. So I have certain rows, certain columns, good amount of data. So this will be eventually loaded into a staging table. Okay, what is my staging table? So in my example, staging table is in support database, which is this. Which one? Employee info. No, not employee info. Customer info. This is a table. So it has certain columns. So we have to first check whether all the columns are properly created. If you don't have application knowledge, then it's no problem. You can anyways anytime get the script of the table. So that will be there in the source control. So every organization will have a source control where the code is checked in, and once the code is checked in and released for testing, unless and until there is a bug, without intimating tester, developer is not allowed to modify that code. That's it. So once the code is released for testing, and if it should be placed in a source control. Source control may be a Team Foundation server, TFS for Microsoft, or any other tool. There are many tools available in market. So once the code is placed there, so the developer will not be allowed to do any changes without informing tester and without having a valid reason. Either there should be a bug or there should be a change request. So we can get code from there for creating a table, or we can generate a script. This is the best way of testing. So now you will have much more control. So you will have all the columns, whether the column naming is done properly as per the mapping sheet, and as per the mapping sheet, data types are declared properly as per the mapping sheet, data lengths are defined properly, nullable columns are addressed. If there are any keys, whether the keys are created, if there are any primary key, foreign key relations, integrity principles are there, that will also be given in the mapping document itself. So whether they are created, integrity constants. So whether all that are properly, whether all of them are properly addressed or not. Okay. So see here I have an identity column. Yeah. Okay, so I am now establishing that all the columns which are there in the mapping document are available in this table with appropriate naming, with appropriate data types, with appropriate data lengths. Good, all of the columns are present. So metadata validation is over.